We got all this new sound equipment. We recorded a full episode with it. And it doesn't sound good.
No.
And we don't know what to do. So we're back on our old sound equipment for at least this day.
But we've had two complaining Colleens.
We've had 2 reviews. Well,
I don't know what to call them.
Complaining Colleens.
Yeah, like I tried to match, but...
We love you, even if you have criticized our sound quality.
Yes.
And we just want you to know we're trying, but...
We can't figure it out. We're not good at this part of it.
I think we're going to have to pay somebody. Listen, we're trying.
We're really trying, guys.
So Kara's going to tell us a story.
Yeah, I sure am.
This is the Witches, Magic, Murder, and Mystery podcast.
Oh, hey, I'm Kara.
Oh, hey, I'm Megan.
Here we go.
Hello.
Okay, mine's kind of like a witchy lady.
Can I still sing Witchy Woman 32 times like I did the first time?
3,947 times.
It's just a really great song.
It is,
And I feel like
fits
it's perfect for this
Yes.
story. It's perfect for October.
Yeah.
It's perfect for us.
Us in general.
Everybody now. Ooh, witchy woman.
You gotta close your eyes.
High she flies. It's not as fun without the fancy
2
microphones that we had the first time we tried.
Yeah, because
I felt like Lady Gaga.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we could move that one
I could
back
just
over
pretend.
here.
I could pretend this mic is on and be like
singing into it.
Yeah, Mariah.
Yeah, and flipping her doing the hair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
This is a podcast.
We're so good at this, guys. You all love our banter. So my episode is about Baba Anujka, I think is her name. I think it's Anujka. Mm-hmm. We're gonna go with that. There's not a lot of information about her early life. I do know that she was born between 1836 and 1838. Some articles claim she said 1836. Some others say 1838. So we're just going to put her in there.
You know what? She's
in that.
Lie about her age all she
She's in that vicinity. So she was born to a rich cattleman. And they sent her to a very wealthy private school. She had all the like fancy friends and like all the fun things. So and she also learned 5 languages in school.
Oh,
I don't know what you're going to do with all those.
I can't even name 5 languages.
No.
Spanish, Japanese, German, Chinese. There we go.
Yeah.
Did it.
So good at this. Mm-hmm. So she moved back in with her dad after she went to school. And at the age of 20, she was seduced by a young Austrian military officer. And she's like, this is love.
Did he have, was it 7 children? And did he need a nanny named Maria?
You are 16 going on 17.
That's all I think of when you say Austrian military.
Australian?
I really wanted to make that joke the first time we recorded it, and I couldn't. So
here we go. I opened it up for you. Okay, guys. But he wasn't as good to her as that guy was.
No?
No. He left her, but he left her with a gift of syphilis.
Oh.
She
That's not romantic at all.
No. She wasn't very happy about this, so she just kind of became an introvert and was like, well, screw love. I'm just going to go play with my chemistry set.
Yeah, I mean, if that's your first love, like, dang. No wonder you'd be a little bit scarred from it. Chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah.
She consoles herself with science.
Yes. So then she went on to marry a wealthy landowner. I'm not going to say is pissed off. He was a little bit older than her. And after 20 years of marriage, she passed. They had 11 children.
11 children.
They had 11 kids together, one of which only survived to adulthood because of all the diseases back in those days.
Oh, man. So 11, but...
Typhoid Mary probably was in town.
Probably. Just one made it.
Only one.
Gosh.
Yep. So after the husband passed, she was like, I'm going to get back into chemistry. And the sweet little husband of hers had created a laboratory in one of the wings of the house.
Nice.
For her to practice in.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really sweet.
I know. He was
way better than the first guy.
I know.
She did good.
He was like, you go cure syphilis.
Yeah.
Sweet little guy. Okay, so she started practicing more and more, and she got the reputation of a healer and an herbalist. In the late 19th century, she was super popular with all the wives of farmers who sought help with just like ailments and then also like love problems. And then soldiers would come to her and be like, listen, I want to get out of the military, but I don't want to die. Can you help me? And she'd be like, I got you. Let me conjure up this little spell here and you just drink this magic water. And they would get super sick, but not die. And then they'd get out of the military
just
on like
sick
medical
enough
leave.
To get out of
Yeah. And then she started giving magic water to women with abusive husbands. They'd go to her and be like, this is horrible. And that she'd be like, okay, sounds good. But then they started dying like 8 days later. Yeah. So in these love potions, they had like small traces of arsenic and certain plant toxins that were super hard to detect. So these women, like I said, would come to her and be like, listen, we've got a problem. I just can't
I'll solve it.
Yeah, I just can't get rid of this. And she's like, how big is your problem? What's the weight of this problem on you? And they were like, what? She's like, yeah, how heavy is your problem? And they're like, I mean, I guess it's just really weighing on me. And she'd be like, no, how heavy?
Specifically. And they're
how
like,
heavy is the...
He's 6 foot tall, 180.
Yeah. And so she'd be like, I got you. And so she would measure it out, the dosage based on like the weight of the problem.
Because she's a scientist.
She is. She's into chemistry. So she would calculate the dose, give it to the women, and normally these guys would be like super healthy men, but all of a sudden they'd get real sick.
Weird.
Real sick. And all of a sudden, they're just dying. And these people, when she went on to be like in her trial, these people were like, she's just a healer. Just a miracle worker, and she just spoke words over this water, and this is what happened. It was meant to be.
I feel like when they're they're looking at all the men who've died, and they're like, "What do they all have in common?"
Yeah.
It's like, well, they all like to beat up women. Like, whoa, I guess that's gonna kill you.
I guess she did the right thing, and that's what karma is.
I just think beating your wife is a deadly disease,
deadly sin. Deadly. There were several things that she would put in her drinks or her magic water. Like I said, arsenic, mercury, a plant called a mouse trap or a tatula plant. It's also known as the grasshopper or the devil's grass.
Oh, devil's grass.
Yep.
I thought that was something else.
Maybe it'll kill you if it's laced with something. Maybe she was putting arsenic in the weed.
Oh, maybe. Maybe the devil's grass was just like to sedate them.
Yeah.
Or just to really chill them out.
What does it do? What does it do if you put it in water?
I have no idea.
I don't know. Okay. So, like I said, most of her customers were women. And then she started getting more and more money. She was like, I'm going to start charging these people. Like, lots of people are coming to me.
So she was doing it for free before?
I think so.
Dang.
And in some of the reports, it says that she killed about 50 to 150 people. They're not really sure. And we'll never really be sure. But people were like, well, this is the perfect crime.
Yeah.
Because it was so easy to get by with. And if you killed 150 people and nobody knows about it yet, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's happening? So in the 1920s, she decided to hire someone to be a sales agent for her.
Like a brand ambassador.
Yeah. She's like, I'm going to build this pyramid and you're going to jump on board and you're going to go out and find some customers for me. So this woman would go out and find customers for her and bring them back to her house. And so she'd just like talk to them about their problems. And
I wondered, like, did she get paid to do that, or did she get like just like a discount?
Oh no, she got
services?
paid. She got paid. Yeah,
okay.
She was paid well. And then Baba started charging more and more monies. It was Yugoslav dinars is what it looks like.
Sure,
not
is.
dinners.
No,
or not diners. That's not how it's spelled. It's dinars.
Is absolutely correct.
Yeah. So it said, after the 8th day, you will no longer have a problem. That's what she would tell her customers after she's like handing them the bag, walking around the counter. After the 8th day, you'll no longer have a problem. Have a good one.
Sweet little old lady.
See you next week. So she, like, it says, like, one of the drinks would have been about $3,000 now.
Wow.
That's like hiring a hitman in some of our stories.
I mean,
that one.
But that's literally what they're doing.
Yeah,
you know?
that one we just did that Zoom call on, it was only $1,000 that she tried to pay someone. So
I've heard some stories where it's like, I paid her $60 to shoot this person. And I'm like, $60?
yeah. Yeah. Okay, so Baba had sold some of her magic water to Stana
I love this.
in January of 24.
Where is it?
Mamarov.
Stana Mamarov.
Mm-hmm, yeah. In 1924 for 2,300 dinars. She was a previous client of hers. She had given her some like medicines every now and then. And then she was like, listen, I'm having some marital problems. And Baba was like, how big of a problem? And she said,
how heavy is your problem?
Yeah. So she ended up giving it to her husband and he died after a few days. It didn't even take him 8 days.
Oh.
He was a goner.
She overestimated his weight.
Yeah, she did. Mm-hmm. So then this lady remarried after a bit, and it was a man from the same village. And so, I mean, why not? You're killing people. Why not marry outside of the village?
Yeah.
One villager dies, but like 2 villagers, and you're like, oh, this is a lot. So then they were like, okay, what's going on here? Because that one died a few months after marriage. And they were like, the police were like, okay, Stana.
Mamarov.
What are you doing here?
Yeah.
And so, that aside, Baba sold some more magic water in December of 26 to Asima and his wife, Sophia, who wanted to kill his 70-year-old father, Nicola. And their motive was all about a family argument. Yeah. According to the claim, he was an alcoholic and super abusive towards their children and their grandchildren. So Sophia had heard about Baba from another woman named Danica. Stoic?
It doesn't. She doesn't have a last name.
Yep. And they contacted Baba, and Baba sold her magic water for 5,000 dinars. So Sophia gave it to 16-year-old Olga, who was Nicola's granddaughter, and asked her to make sure that he drank it. Like, please make sure Papa gets this.
It's weird that you would make your 16-year-old granddaughter an accomplice to murder.
Yeah.
Unless she knew. Like, maybe everybody knew. They're like, he's an abusive alcoholic.
He's a jerk. He's a complete jerk.
I mean, maybe they'd be like...
Well, maybe he was abusive towards her.
That's what I mean. So maybe it was just like, yeah, you want to get rid of this problem? Just make sure he drinks this. Like, maybe it wasn't even a secret in the family.
Right. Yeah.
But... if it was, then gosh, can you imagine being the granddaughter who did that? Like,
oh,
you gotta live with that. Like, she's 16. Yeah. Drink it. Everything's fine. Don't make it weird.
It's gonna get
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Don't be suspicious. Okay, so after 15 days, he died. So police were like, okay.
I wonder, like, after the 8th day, they're all like, dang it.
Are we gonna have to go
here?
We're gonna have to spend more money
they
with her.
They get to day 12 and they're like,
we're going to have to spend
we
more
want
money.
our money back.
We're going to have to spend more money with her. She's not a witch doctor.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So police were like, okay, something's going on here. What are we doing? And finally they traced it all back to Baba. Her first trial was June 1914 for providing poison for murders, but she was acquitted. Then she was arrested again on May 15th of 1928 at the age of 90. So all of these people that were associated with the grandfather's murder and the first lady that killed the 2 men were a part of her trial. And the authorities were just like, okay, this is a hot mess. Like, what is going on? So they dug up all the bodies of those murders. and they decided to test them. It took a bit, but the trial began June 1929, and then the hearings took place June 18th and 19th. And then they took a little break and came back on July 1st when all those results of the testings were available. And they also tested some samples in Baba's house, and they were just like, okay, this is ridiculous. We're going to seek the death penalty for everybody associated except for the 16-year-old. Like, the 16-year-old is young. Like, we're not going to bother with anything with that.
Good. Hopefully she was just a victim too.
Yes. So Sophia, and the other guy of the grandfather, they were going to defend themselves at trial. They were just like, we didn't know. Like, all these people were just like, she's a magic person. Like, she just spoke over the water, and it's just her supernatural powers. Like, I don't know what you all want us to tell you. Like, she's not doing anything.
Yeah.
She just is this little witchy lady. Like, I don't.
So, did they really believe that she was just killing them with magic, or did they know she was poisoned?
They knew.
Oh.
They knew. They're just trying to, like, cover their asses.
I guess I'm like, I don't understand why that makes it better. If either way they knew it was going to kill him, then whether it was magic or poisoning, why did that?
Yeah. And then, like, during the trial, she just kept being like, no, I just spoke more. Like, I didn't do that. Like,
excuse me, this is magic, sir.
This isn't me. I was acquitted one time. Why are you all doing this again?
I just put my intentions into the water, and it happened.
It happened, yeah. And their intentions caused it.
Yeah, it was, right. It wasn't my intention. It was theirs.
Yes.
With the moon.
Yes. Yeah, gosh, guys. So they were the younger granddaughter. She spoke up and was just like, I had no idea that this is what was happening. Like, I didn't know that they were trying to murder anybody. I was so young at the time. Like, why would you all include me in this?
It's valid.
And so then the wife spoke up in another court session, and she was just like, okay, there was kind of a plot to this. So
you got us. We totally had to kill him.
There's some things happening, and he's dead. Ding dong.
And the world's a better place.
Yep.
Allegedly.
And then all of the investigators, everybody, the prosecutor, he was just like, okay, but you all do realize that there's, like, arsenic in all of these bodies, right? Like, this isn't, like, unless her words are speaking arsenic into the bodies, I don't think that this is what's happening. So then the verdict was delivered July 6th of 1929. Baba was sentenced to 15 years in prison. I couldn't find that earlier. And her role was the accomplice in both murders. And then the other people did get prison time except for the young one. And then Olga and Danica were acquitted.
Yeah. Olga was the granddaughter.
Yeah. So the prosecutor, the defendants, they were just like, this guy's, I mean, what are we doing here?
Right.
And some of them were like, punishment for all! Let's punish everyone! So they cross-examined everyone. They knew that the others knew all about it, and they were just like, okay, guys, like, this is getting out of control. Like, you get X amount of years, you get X amount of years. Like, we're just done with this. Quit trying to come back. We're just done. So then at the age of 98, she had only spent 8 years in prison, 8 of her 15 years in prison. She was released. Some say that it was due to old age. Some say that she was well behaved in prison. I was like, okay.
Did she have her chemistry lab in prison?
Maybe. But she died 2 years later in her house and at the age of 100.
It is really interesting that she was let out at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess at 98, you assume they're not going to be a threat anymore, but
I mean, at 90, she was.
Well, and her method of murder, well, I guess she didn't directly
She was
do
a serial killer.
But yeah, like, her method of murder was just mixing stuff up in cups. Like, it doesn't take a lot of physical ability.
And she was making tons of money off of it. She was so angry at that first boyfriend that she was just like, kill them all.
Yeah, I mean,
she wanted revenge on all the bad guys.
And I feel like that kind of like Dexter type murderer is like, that story's always been around, right? From the beginning of time about somebody who's trying to they're in their heads, they're doing the right thing. Good deeds. But it's still murder.
It is. It's still murder. We don't kill people.
No, we do. Not for me. We just
wish ill will upon.
Yeah. I mean, abusive people who are physically abusive to their loved ones. I mean.
Yeah. There's a certain place for you.
Yeah. I understand the want.
Yes.
I guess.
Yes.
But there are going to be repercussions if you do it.
Correct.
And if
don't do that.
If you get caught.
Don't do that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Earl. Them black-eyed peas.
Tasted all right to
me. Okay. Do you want to do some Patreon shout-outs?
We're so good at this, guys.
So, last time we mispronounced them on purpose. I don't think we should try that this time because it was very confusing.
I got really confused, and then I didn't know how to say anything anymore. Words just jumbled in my head, and I'm like,
the names are hard enough.
Anymore. Am I speaking a different language?
Don't know. No. Okay. So if you are in our Patreon at the Body of a Goddess level, then one of the perks that you get is having your name shout out on the podcast.
Literally shouted out at you.
And we just want to tell you how much we appreciate you. Yes. If you guys are in the Patreon, we love you. If you're not on the Patreon, we still love you.
Yes.
But if you'd like to be, you can always check out. There's a link in the show notes on this episode, and there's also a link on Instagram if you go to the link in our bio.
Right.
Okay.
And we're reading these the exact way that you put them in the Patreon. So if you spelled it wrong, that's not on us.
Yeah. Our only reason for mispronouncing anything is definitely your fault.
It's on you.
So think about what you've done. Nicole St. Pierre.
Crystal Bichelle.
Karai Gabner.
Thomas Mossop.
Rachel Stoddy.
Hannah Locke.
I promised Carrie I would mispronounce hers on purpose. And now it's hard.
Now it's hard to keep going.
You said
I did Hannah. Uh-huh.
Mandy Burrell.
Jillian Rudolph.
Robin Ryder.
Rochelle Watkins.
Excellent job. You did that really well.
Rochelle.
Excellent names, everybody.
Yes, beautiful.
We will be here tomorrow with another episode.
Oh my gosh, guys, it's October, and just jump on board for all of these episodes you're about to experience.
Ever.
It's gonna be amazing.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.